What's up, guys? Thank you for coming back to my YouTube channel. If for those of you that don't know me, I'm YK Maharaj. Basically, I teach self-improvement and how to better yourself every single day. And today, I'm gonna be going over how to get consistent with those good habits you know you need to be doing. Now, for those of you who don't know, for an example of these good habits can be cold showers, meditation. It could be journaling. It could be writing down your goals every day. It could be rating your day. There's a bunch of them. Oh, even checking your day, right? So today I'm gonna go over how to create systems that keep you consistent with your good habits. So the first thing I do is I create a checklist. It's a habit checklist. So on my habit checklist, I write down what I create columns of the different habits that I'm trying to be consistent in, and I'll write down each one, right? So this is a cold shower every morning. This is write down my goals every morning or every day. This is eat the frog. For those of you that don't know what eat the frog is, it's basically, I'll explain it after this. This is work on my business and my personal brand. As you can see, I haven't been consistent there. This is meditate, and then at the end of the day, I rate my day, right? Now, when I say create systems to keep you consistent with good habits, this here is a system. One, because the habits I want to stay consistent with is right in front of my face here every single day. Every single day I look at it, and it's a reminder to not forget to do these good habits, right? Because there is a video I made where I said it's not about the bad habits you give into, it's about stopping the good ones. That's where the problem starts. So the reason I say that this is a system, one, this is right here. Every day I can see this. This is a reminder to me not to forget my habits, right? That's one thing. The second thing is, this is on top of my journal, right? Now, I want to be consistent with journaling. I don't have it written here, right? But because every single day I am looking at this list here, and I'm looking here to tick off and get my shit done and rate my day, it is on my journal. So automatically, whenever I remember, whenever I feel like I have something to journal, I will open my journal and start writing. Why? Because it's right here in front of me every single day. Before this, I would also struggle with be consistent, right? I mean, I don't write in my journal every single day, but majority of the days, like maybe 4 or 5 times a week, I'm writing in my journal, right? And why? Even though it's not on here, it's on my habit checklist is on my journal, right? That is a system that I created to keep me consistent with journaling and with checking my habits, right? Let me explain what eat the frog is. So, eat the frog. If I had told you that you had to eat a frog, right? You had to. You couldn't get out of it. But you could either do it before your meal or after your meal. When would you do it? Before your meal, right? Well, majority of people would probably want to do it before their meal. So, eat the frog here means doing your hardest task of the day first. Now, I don't always do it first, but because it's on my checklist, I make sure I get that hardest task done. For me, generally, that's cool because I don't, some people are not going to like what I say. I don't believe in the school system. I don't believe it's going to get me where I need to go in life. So getting myself to sit down and study and work towards an education, it just bores the hell out of me. Like, it's one of the hardest things for me to get myself to do. And I know I preach about discipline and being structured and everything. But look, guys, I'm also human and I try my best. So eat the frog day for me is schoolwork, because that's the one thing I will end up procrastinating because I see no purpose in it. But you know, I don't end up procrastinating things like my personal brand content and my business stuff because I see purpose in it, right? It's going to get me to my end goal and where I'm trying to get. It's just that with school, I've always hated school. Yes, another thing to stay consistent with your habits. So I did mention before that it's not about the bad habits you give into, it's about the good habits that you end up stopping. So when you get onto the self-improvement journey and you select these good habits that you want to do, like these habits here, right? My cold shower every morning, write down my goals every morning, eat the frog, meditate, no, I'm missing something. Oh yeah, work on my business and my personal brand and rate my day, right? Now, when you start your self-improvement journey and you want to start these good habits, right? It's all good and well you want to start them. But the problem comes into when you start giving into bad habits, you start beating yourself up. Like, I told myself I wasn't going to do this. Now I'm back on day 1, day 0, whatever. And that's a very negative way of thinking. You shouldn't be approaching it like that, guys. Like, if you went to the gym and so now let's say I'm sure majority of you might already be going to the gym. For the people that watch my YouTube videos, because we're all on self-improvement, and gym's probably one of the easiest self-improvement habits to get consistent with. For people that go to the gym, you'd understand this analogy. If you go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week, right? So you see yourself as consistent, right? But the thing is, people have the wrong idea of consistency. Now, I'm not saying this when it applies to gym. I'm saying applying to other things, like people that are on NoFap, trying to quit fapping, right? Or people that are trying to quit smoking or something like that. Now, what I've realized is people have the wrong definition of this, because they see consistency as never missing a day. That's not true, right? So let me show you here. Look, write down my goals every morning. There's a cross, right? I'm missing days. My business, I haven't been working on it this whole month, right? Meditate, I missed a day, right? Guys, I also, look, cold shower every morning. I missed a day, right? Because everyone's not perfect. We're all human, right? But the point is, it's not about the fact that we missed a day. It's the fact that you still showed up the next day. So when I say people have the wrong idea of consistency, they see it as, oh shit, if I miss a day, I'm back to day 0. Apply that to the gym. If you went to the gym, let's say you started gymming, if you went to the gym and you go 4 or 5 days a week, let's say normally you try your best to go 7 days a week, because in your head, if you miss a day, you restart from day 0. If you decided your body was too sore the one day, so you decided to take that one day off, are you now back on day 0 of going to the gym? Does that make any sense to you guys, right? And I don't mean any offense to any of you, right? Because I also used to have this way of thinking, right? But you don't go back to day 0 when you go back to the gym. That's so stupid, by saying you lose all your gains by not going back to the gym, right? So same thing applies when you're trying to do something else, whether it's NoFap, whether it's meditation, whether it's writing down your goals. It's not about missing a day. It's about still showing up every other day, right? I'll tell you the best way I learned this. Consistency isn't showing up 7 days a week. Consistency is having that, like, 1, 2, 3 days showing up, missing a day, missing another day, but you still showed up after that again, right? It's about the compounding weeks, how often you got yourself to show up. So, like, for me, with my content and my personal brand, I went from posting 1 video a week to 1 video a day, right? Now, when I first got to posting 1 video a day, I wasn't used to it, so I tried my best to be consistent. I'd end up posting at minimum 3 to 7 videos a week, because I was working, right? But my point is, those weeks where I only had 3 videos, that's still consistency. Because yes, the previous week, let's say the first week of the month, I did 6. The second week, I did 7. The third week, I did 3. But then that last week, I did 4 or 5 or 6, right? The point is, that third week there that has 3 does not have a 0 on it. I did not miss a whole week of shit, right? If you go and look at that, in my eyes, I was still consistent. Yes, my posting frequency decreased because I did not post as much. Maybe I got busy, maybe I got lazy, maybe I was procrastinating. It happens. But I still showed up regardless. That is what consistency is, right? So please do not beat yourself up when you miss a day of doing a habit or something you're trying to implement. And think to yourself, listen, it's not about the days I don't do it. It's about every other day that I do it. I just want to add a note quickly on what I said there. I said don't beat yourself up. When I say that, I mean don't give yourself so much shit and go so hard on yourself because you missed a habit or you gave into a bad habit on the day. For those of you that used to play video games or still play video games, when you let's say it's Fortnite or it's Rocket League, right? When you lose a battle royale or you lose a match in Rocket League, yes, you're upset, but you don't beat yourself up about it. You tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna get the next one. So the same thing applies with your habits. Don't beat yourself up. Tell yourself, okay, I may have messed up this time, but I'm gonna get it next time. That's what I meant when I say don't beat yourself up. Please do not mistake in that. And please don't use that wrong either. Some people will say, oh, well, he told me not to beat myself up, yeah, and then you're gonna do the habit again. Nah. Don't do that. right? Because consistency should not be seen as never missing a day. No, and if that's your version of consistency, hey, I'm inconsistent too, right? Consistency should be seen as volume over time. Because let's go back to that example. First week I did 6 videos, the second week I did 7 videos, the third week I did 3 videos, and let's say for the last week I did 5 videos, right? When you look at that in the long run, right, the amount of videos I posted by the end of the month is a lot. Why? Because it wasn't about showing up every day. It was about showing up. And the fact that I showed up gave me that consistency and allowed me to get that total amount of volume by the end of the month. But of course, if I was more consistent, and maybe that week where I had 3, I did 5 videos, and that week where I had 5, I did 6 videos, the volume would be even more. So yes, the volume wasn't as high as it could have been, but my volume was still there. I had volume over time, and that is what you need to see consistency as. Because guys, no matter what habit it is, I fail too, right? There were some days I wasn't meditating. There's some days I didn't write down my goals. There's some days I didn't have a cold shower in the morning, right? It's not about the days you don't do your good habits. It's about showing up for your good habits every single day. And if you miss a day, don't beat yourself up about it. Don't tell yourself, oh, I restart from day 0 tomorrow. No, you just keep going the next day. Or even if you realize on that same day, shit, I didn't meditate this morning, and even though your rule says in the morning you must meditate, you're better off doing that meditation in the middle of the day than at no point during that day anyways. But my point is, don't beat yourself up for missing good habits, right? As long as you're consistent with them. Because one thing I've noticed since I've started my self-improvement journey in 2023 was when I started taking it more seriously, is what happens is we start to get onto these good habits. We start to do these good habits more and more and more. We start to get better and better and better. But then something happens where something in our life happens, no matter what it is, where it knocks us down and we start to fall off that prime we felt ourselves in throughout the year, right? I had my prime this year. My prime was when I was doing 75 hard, if any of you remember that. Because shit happens, right? And that's what I'm saying. The biggest lesson I've learned from this is it's not about giving into your bad habits. It's not about never giving into it. Some people do that, right? It happens. We're all human. But it's about never stopping your good ones. Because ever since I started taking my self-improvement journey serious in 2023, yes, I've grown. Yes, I've become smarter. I've become more mature. I'm ahead of people my age. But when you stop doing those good habits, it's basically all that progress you made from your self-improvement, it almost goes away. Not necessarily 100%, because yes, your mind has developed because of it and you've grown and you've learned stuff. But what happens is when you stop those good habits, that version of you goes away, because you are where what you spend your time on, right? There's a reason that they say you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, because the 5 people you spend the most time with determine what you spend your time on, right? So basically, if you're around 5 clowns, you're going to be the 6th. If you're around 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th. Why? Let's just think about that deeply quickly. Why would you be the 6th millionaire if you're around millionaires? Because one, you'd be friends with all of them, right? And all your friends are millionaires. You'd feel like, how can I not be? I want to be like them. I'm trying to be like them, right? So you'd feel the need to catch up. You'd feel the need to work harder. But on top of that, the conversations you'd be having with them would be different to the conversations you'd be having with everyone else that's not a millionaire. Why? Because they are different. So you are the sum of the people you spend your time with. So let me teach you one more thing. Where you spend your time shows you what you value in life. I read this in a book called The Values Factor. I have mentioned it before. And that's very important. If you go and analyze where you spend most of your time, you will see what you truly value in life. And if your words don't match your actions, then you don't fucking value what you say you value. That's just the honest truth. I'm sorry, guys. So, how to be consistent with these habits? Sometimes it may be hard. It gets difficult. You may not always feel like it. There is a quote I like to remind myself. There's a couple of quotes I like to remind myself. One, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. I'm sure you've heard that from me before. 2, may God have mercy on my competition, because I sure as hell won't. I love that one, man. I love that one. Oh, equal and opposite forces. The more you put in, the more you're going to get out. Like, and that's so true, guys. You know, I don't feel like posting content every day. I don't feel like recording this video right now. Okay, no, I'm lying. I did feel like recording it, but I don't. The point is, not every day I feel like doing this shit, right? But I do it. Why? Because I know that the more you put in, the more you get out, right? Equal and opposite forces, guys. You cannot, equal and opposite forces. The more you put in, the more you're going to get it. It is inevitable. It is inevitable that you will make it. It is inevitable that I will make it. I know I'm only sitting on what now? Like maybe 169 subscribers right now, right? But I know as long as I don't stop and I keep posting and I keep working, the more I put in, the more I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna go from 169 for all I fucking know. By the end of 2025, I'll have 300 subs, right? I hope so. That's what I'm trying to do. Double it by the end of the year, and that's only what, just under 2 months, less than 2 months. But it's not impossible. Why? Because the more I put in, the more I'm going to get out. Just remember that. So if you ever do a habit and you feel like it's pointless, remember that the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. I will say there's something that made me consistent with my habits is that I got into a rut during this year. Towards the beginning of May, and I stayed in that rut until
a few moments later.
Until about August. I stayed in that rut, and that's why I'm saying that my biggest lesson I learned was it's not about giving into the bad habits. We all are human. It's about not stopping the good ones, because as soon as you stop the good ones, you lose your progress. Well, not 100%, because you've learned stuff and things. You can't take away what you've learned, right? But you lose the progress you've made. You lose the momentum you've built, and honestly, you just get into like a shit place. Hey, I remember feeling at my worst during that time. And to fix that, I implemented meditating. Let me show you an example of how I implemented it as a system for me. Meditation is the action I'm going to be putting in, right? So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm going to be the action I'm going to be doing. And this is what I'm trying to get out of it. I'm trying to get better decision making. I'm trying to get it to keep me locked in. And it makes you happy, right? And it genuinely does, right? Then how do you get feedback of how this is working? Journaling, right? Journaling. When I check my journaling compared to when I started the system, I can see, okay, I'm doing better than before that. And yeah, all of this here will determine your self-improvement rate. Yeah, so when I fell off, then I started I know around that time I didn't implement that meditation system that I showed you. Around that time I did something else and it got me locked in. But my point is that when we stop doing the good habits, that's when we feel at our worst. We don't feel at our worst when we give into the bad ones. Like, let's say you are on NoFap and after 2 weeks you gave into it, right? You're gonna feel like shit, and for all we know, you might relapse and it might become another month or two before you try to quit again, right? Because it happens. But you need to remind yourself, I may have given into it now, but I can't stop everything else I was already doing. Because when you stop, it just goes down, down, and down. You know how they talk about downward spirals, right? Because, look, you gave into wanking, okay, right? Now you feel worse. Now, because you feel worse, you want to wank again because you tell yourself, well, I'm on day 1 anyways. I might as well restart tomorrow, right? And then it's a constant loop. You end up doing the same shit until you feel miserable. And on top of that, you stop doing your good habits, right? That's how you get to the bottom, right? That's how you go down that downward spiral. But let's say, for example, here's you when you did your bad habits. Let's say you gave into wanking, for example, right? And yes, you are going like this. You are making progress. Now you gave into wanking. Your decision to keep going gets you here, like this, going down, going straight down. But if you stopped wanking, you gave into it, okay, you hit a bit of a turbulence, but now you tell yourself, nah, it's not about the fact that I gave into it. It's about the fact that I can't keep giving into it. I can't go back into the habit what's the word for it? That spiral of doing it over and over again. And you pick yourself up and you're like, no. I'm going to stay consistent. I'm going to do my good habits and I'm going to stay away from it. Boom. There's it there. You go back, right? That's how growth happens, right? You got to hit turbulence before you can go up, right? Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Normally I like to plan my videos ahead. I didn't plan shit for this video. I just sat down and decided to start talking and see where it get me, because someone advised me to try this out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave me a comment down below of what you think of this compared to my other videos, and whether you want to see me freestyle more videos like this, or whether you want me to keep with my other videos, or whether you want a mixture of both. Before you leave, one more thing, make sure to smash that like button, by the way, because I'm giving y'all some solid advice. I'm speaking from experience and I'm exposing myself at the same time, but I'm doing it all for the benefit of you guys. So please smash that like button. If you haven't already, check out my IG and TikTok. I'm gonna put my ad here, and there's gonna be a link in the description at the top there for both my IG and my TikTok. And guys, please share this with a friend who you think really needs to hear this, who has been inconsistent with their habits, who have been on and off. They'll be like, yeah, let's start 75 hard today, and then the next day they're like, I don't feel like it. Please send this to the people that know they need it, that you know they need it. As always, guys, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. I'm rooting for you and I'm watching from afar.